Hey everybody, it's Boss Barrel Radio. I'm Griffin Hoffmann, co-host, lead host, and with me is Geoff Brewer.
What's up?
And James Sherer.
My wife.
And a special guest appearance by Collin Connett.
Howdy.
Let it be known
really
that...
thought that you dropped
Hey,
the ball.
wow. One at a time.
I felt like Collin dropped the ball. I felt like he dropped it hard. It went through the floor.
I couldn't do a harder than whatever the previous one was, really.
Well, maybe you can't just do a harder "what's up," but maybe you throw something else in. Like I editorialized a little bit, threw my life in there. Like there's something else. Like
do we want to take this all again from the top? Before we do that, let me make sure everything's recording here correctly, so it's not a joke. Okay. We're looking good. Mike's are hot. Hey guys, it's time to talk about video games in the year of our Lord 2025.
it is
Indeed
that
it is.
year. It's
good
not
year.
even new.
It feels like we just talked yesterday, but we did. But the problem was we talked about yester games, and we have a lot of catching up to do because it seems like we played a lot of games in 2025.
Let it be known that I looked at Collin's list, and it is...
All old games!
Geoff's getting
Except for one.
out esoteric by Collin.
Yeah, I literally felt like I had to step up. I was like, okay, I wasn't going to list some stuff, but I guess I will since he put it on there.
Well, I
marches to the
I
beat of
said,
his own
Griff,
drum.
what do you want on here? Do you want my one new game, or do you want all the shit I've been playing?
Everything, baby. We got an hour and a half to talk about video games-ish, and it's time to dig right in. So let's... so obviously the big topic that we're going to have to talk about this time is the Switch 2 announcements, all that shenanigans and everything surrounding it. But I think let's hold that and just talk about some games that we played first. You know, we don't want to start the show with the showstopper. Let's talk
Smart.
about some video games. Let's see here. We'll start with Mr. Geoff.
Okay, I was going to say, what better way to launch a show than with a tiny little dumb new hotness game called Nubby's Number Factory. Hey, remember Balatro?
I love it.
What if it was like kind of that, except a little different, and it's Peggle now?
Ooh.
I've never played Balatro or Peggle. Is that what does that make me? Am I real?
You haven't sinned.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just haven't been online, man.
I have not.
How can you live a life and not play Peggle?
I don't know. And here's the thing. You both know at this point that maybe 2-3 years from now, I'm going to play both Peggle and whatever the hell Geoff said. And I'm going to be like,
You're not playing Peggle. Peggle, this is the weird thing about Peggle. Peggle should be a game that you can play anywhere, anytime. In the year of our Lord 2025, I actually don't know how you play Peggle.
That's a good point.
Like, I'm not really sure. Like, is it on the App Store?
It's probably on like an airplane, like on the back of a seat on the airplane.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so quick crash course. So Peggle, Jamie, did you ever play Snood?
oh, hell yeah.
Jamie, have you ever Have you ever watched Plinko on Price is Right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You played Peggle.
So I was gonna say, yeah, it's basically Snood or Plinko except with physics.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm here.
So Nubby's Number Factory is what if someone did some MS Paint ass artwork with some like cheesy like 3D early internet like series of tubes ass art, and then put a little Peggle in there, and then put everyone's favorite thing in the 2020s, which is math, front and center, and basically you're just doing math problems and hitting Peggle blocks, and you have to get a high score, and it's fun and stupid and very addictive.
Geoff, did you have to play that game on the back of an airplane headrest?
No, you have to play it on Steam. You can't play it on any. It's only on Windows and it's only on Steam. I would love to play it on a mobile phone.
It sounds very
feels
itch.io.
I'm sure it was made on itch.io at some point.
What kind of math are we talking? How deep?
The kind of math we're talking is, so you have your Plinko boards, right, which come up every like round, and you have a bunch of little blocks on them or circles on them, and they have different values assigned to them, and you have to just basically like bounce your little ball around and clear a certain score threshold. Except it gets to a point where you cannot do that by just hitting balls. So that's where the items come in. So you can have up to 7 items, I think. And those items will do things like double point values or launch items onto the board that ricochet off of other pegs, or maybe they'll have point values, or they'll do all kinds of weird stuff. But then like there's various synergies that will emerge. And then in addition to that, there are perks, which can cause different items in different slots to reactivate, which is kind of interesting. The point of the game is to like get your items to chain into each other over and over and over again. They all have like conditional activations.
Math
Where's
Blaster,
the math?
This is
Where's the math?
The math is building with your items, building an equation that will cause you to get infinity points by just throwing the ball out. Yeah.
I imagine that you hit a peg and the game stopped for a second and it was like 4 times 8, and I'm like, no.
No. It's Balatro math, which is like it feels like you might have the right numbers, and then you do it and you see what happens. And sometimes you fail miserably and it's like a wet fart, and other times you literally get a message that says you broke the game with a smiley face.
Gotcha.
That's pretty cool.
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally logical operators style math.
You're not PEMDASing in there. You're just it's a lot of like getting one thing to trigger another thing. So it's more like understanding conditionals, and also understanding how to make a limitless engine with like exponential growth and things like that. It's very fun. Cool. It's like $5. You should play it. It has just like Balatro, it has a singular song.
Okay, and just like Peggle, it has a singular song. Okay.
Yeah, and you also you earn coins when you pass the score threshold. So if you pass the score threshold, you get a coin. If you pass it multiple times, you get more coins. If
I break the machine, does it feel like I'm done, or is there a reason to play it again?
So the game came out, was fully released, but there have been some updates. New items have been added. There are also challenges. So it has some legs, but it's not going to be as addictive and enduring as Balatro. But it's got some legs.
Speaking of legs, if I break enough pegs in it, do I get to see some hot gams?
Nice.
No, it's not. It's not like, Mahjong with big titty anime ladies.
Well, okay, well, that sounds great. Speaking of big titty anime ladies, I have to talk about a game.
Oh, shit. Please.
Okay, Stellar Blade is really good, guys.
Ooh, I want to play that.
You should. Stellar Blade. It came out last year. It's probably well known for its big-bottomed anime lady, who's the main character, and it's basically Devil May Cry. Stylish action beat 'em up with open worlds and souls-like enemies regenerate. But there is a skill tree board that you level up and progress through and enhance your abilities. But just like the Devil May Cry, it is very taxing on the player to execute skilled combos, master a dodge and a parry, do some light traversal to kind of navigate some level stuff. And then all of a sudden it turns on its head and it's suddenly a semi-horror shooter.
Huh.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. And it kind of balances those two things out. Kind of actually, if you want to call it 3 things, 1 would be the open world survival or the open world exploration. 2 would be, like the intense boss combat, melee combat. And then 3 would be the segments where you're kind of stomping through corridors and shooting gelatinous messes made of bones and flesh and what have you with a blaster, a Mega Man blaster.
I fully intend to shoot a gelatinous mess or two.
You will, baby.
Stellar Blade.
Yeah. It was I really enjoyed playing it. Its story is fairly obvious / ham-fisted / stupid as hell, but in a good like Japanese anime kind of a way. It's got some split pathing and secret ending stuff. But I would say most notable about the game is how it is fairly even in terms of a challenge throughout most of it. It's never like really too exhausting in the way that like you would play a Dark Souls game and beat your head against a boss, 30, 40 runs in a row until you can, clear it. This is like, I think maybe I repeated a boss like 4 or 5 times at the most in any of the kind of simpler levels. And then all of a sudden at the end, you fight, I'll just leave it at this. You fight a boss, and that boss is not a gimp. Like, I don't know how to say this. I'll just say it. You fight a boss that has a very similar moveset as your character, and it is almost impossible. I had to switch it down to easy. I was like, I can't do this. Like, the margin of error for anything just is paper thin. I was not able to, like, I could cheese anything. I couldn't do anything. It really was just like, hey, it's skill check time. And I was like, I don't have that level of skill to
bullshit boss.
this.
Now I'm interested.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say it's a bullshit boss, though.
Yeah.
It's just hard as shit. And it's demanding. Like, it just fucks you up if you don't do everything perfectly. Which up to that point, it was very, very forgiving with, kind of not being perfect on these things. And you could, like, use your arsenal. So, like, you've got your blade, your pretty good blade, and then...
Would you say it's a stellar blade?
Stupid blade, yeah. You've got that, and then you've also have, like, a gun. So you can kind of mix and match your combos, but... this thing just like really demands you juicing every single ability and function out of the character to see it through. I would expect. I mean, obviously I didn't. I dropped it down to easy. And then, batshit buck wild ending, as one would expect in a Japanese anime-ish video game. But yeah, 2 thumbs up. Highly recommend. Had I not been bogged down in 2024, I would have loved to have finished it then. And I'm very happy to say that I highly recommend it. I loved it. It was super fun playing a game like that. And it's probably longer than expected. Probably could be a little bit shorter, but I also just kind of skipped some of the optional content. So really, it felt like a decent pace to it all, too.
Cool.
Is it going to be Game of the Year 2025?
Let's see here. No, because there's many other games that I played this year that are very good.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it definitely can hang up there with quality games. It definitely would have been in my top 10 of last year had I played it last year. But yeah, 2 thumbs up, Stellar Blade. Pass it along. Collin, what have you been up to?
I've been up to a lot. I've been playing a lot of games that didn't come out in 2025, but there is one that I do want to talk about that did come out this year. Ender Magnolia. If you like Metroidvanias, then you'll like Ender Magnolia. It's the sequel to Ender Lilies, which came out in 2019, somewhere around there. Kind of a dark, atmospheric Metroidvania experience. Really cool.
I played this for like 2 seconds.
You did what?
Excited. I played it for like 2 seconds. I'm excited
you did?
to hear. Yeah.
Did you like the 2 seconds?
I did.
Yes. You're going to enjoy many more seconds.
How many big booty anime ladies are there in it?
Not as many as you'd think. It's
I could
more.
Think of a lot of them.
It's more. Well, I mean, one, you're a small anime child.
Don't. Oh, damn it! You set me up.
Yeah, I know.
No,
I know.
She's actually 1,000 years old.
That could entirely. Yeah, that could
Classic.
be true. Yeah, I really like the. Oh God, I don't even remember the homunculi, like combat aspect where you just like you assign all your homunculi that have different like abilities and you just kind of chain them all and combine them in different ways to like attack. It's really cool game. Really cool exploration.
So is this like absorbing souls like in Dawn of Sorrow? In Aria of Sorrow?
Similar.
You literally summon the character. It's really cool. Like
it's a character that like you attune.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah. It's not like, oh, every enemy you defeat becomes like an ability that you can have, or
Gotcha.
yeah.
Are the homunculi also your progression or no?
In some cases, yes.
Okay.
Some of them give you like traversal abilities. Some of them are just for combat.
But to give you a
Okay,
sense,
so-
Geoff, like when you call one of them in, like when you press a face button to do a move, that other character appears, attacks for you, and then goes away. It's like for some of them, it's really cool actually.
Are those
Yeah.
attacks and those actions, are the homunculi like things that you grind out and you get more of them through random chance, or are they fixed and measured and delivered, and that's kind of what gates the progression through the castle?
They're deliberate.
Okay.
Yeah, you won't just like be bouncing around and you defeat an enemy and now it's a homunculi. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Collin, did you play Ender Lilies?
Yes. Loved Ender Lilies. I felt like this was just a straight up improvement in like every aspect over Ender Lilies.
Is it something where you would benefit from having sort of the continuity, or is it sort of like a just hop in anytime?
There are like story links. If you go for like the second like true ending or whatever, there you can see there are like some little story links, but you don't need to play the first game at all if you don't want to.
Okay. Yeah, and you said so it's like more of an atmospheric, dark kind of vibe?
Uh-huh. With a banger soundtrack.
Ooh, you got my attention.
Is it hard? Mm-hmm. Oh.
But it's in Griff though, like, and again played it for like 2 hot seconds, but it's hard in the way that Castlevanias are hard, where you're gonna be going through a lot of hallways where you're gonna have enough time to just beat up the same enemy over and over again that you're gonna feel powerful. So there are those moments kind of like interspersed throughout. And then the other thing I would add is the vibe is very much like Nier Automata. Like just
weird as
Nier
fuck?
Automata. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That to me means like I can't trust anyone.
Not even
the
Pascal?
No, I mean I can trust him, but
You gotta trust Pascal.
Tragedy may befall him.
I mean more like the art, the general look and feel. It's like
The aesthetic of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What if Nier Automata was 2D?
Okay. I mean, I love the art for Nier Automata. Do you feel like this has... I mean, the homunculi sound pretty cool, and they're very reminiscent of sort of like the summon abilities in some Castlevania games, but any other like standout features that this game has, or something that would really kind of set it apart from the pack? I guess amazing music for me could be that.
I guess like it doesn't do anything really extraordinary or new in the genre, but it's just a really solid, polished Metroidvania.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
it seems
I'm
very
interested.
competent.
Yeah.
And it has a map that doesn't suck shit, which is great.
Ooh, now you got my attention.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Very easy to tell if you're done with things, how areas link up, where you're going.
Don't they highlight
okay.
things on the map when you're done? Like it turns a certain color if
It
you're
turns a
done?
color if you're completely done with everything. You get fast travel fast as hell.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
Wait, so it has a reasonable respect for my time, my limited time as a human creature? Oh god, okay.
I'd say, so when I played Ender Lilies, I think to do everything in that game, it took me like 20 hours. This one's not much longer.
Oh shit. Okay.
It ends when it should. It doesn't overstay its welcome, I don't think.
Okay. I'm looking forward to Ender Peonies. That's just me.
It's coming up in 3 years.
That's rad. This is like something I had not heard of Ender Magnolia, but I was familiar with Ender Lilies and just it never even like registered for me. So you saying that, Collin, I trust your taste in esoteric Japanese random nonsense.
Thank
so
you.
I will definitely give this a shot.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
As a fellow enjoyer.
As a man of taste.
Good Steam
I just want
Deck
to
game.
quickly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good to
Oh,
hear.
okay.
Is it?
Um,
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to quickly ask you, Collin. I know I'm getting a little rowdy here and breaking the cycle, but
Uh-oh.
what the hell is Final Fantasy 2 Pixel Remaster doing on there, dog?
Well,
Are you okay?
do you want the story? The story is, it's a
There's a
quick
whale.
story. The story is, I hate Final Fantasy 2. because I played it when it was first released here for the PS1 as part of the little bundle, and it was a buggy disaster and sucked shit, and I hated it. And then everyone said, "Oh, you should try playing it again. The Pixel Remaster fixed all the bugs. It's actually a pretty enjoyable experience." And I said, "Okay, quick game. I already know what to do." I played through it. Also, I kind of just wanted an easy platinum trophy. I'm not gonna lie.
One of those.
There it is.
And
The truth.
it is. It's actually a video game when it's not a buggy mess that it actually
praise.
works. Still don't like it very much, but there you go.
Okay.
It's actually
All right.
a
I was
video
just
game.
very curious about that one. I will say I do own it
Okay.
because I bought all 6 of them.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I had played all
package.
the other Pixel Remaster versions, so I was like, well, now I also feel kind of silly not also playing through this one, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
You've inspired me. Maybe I'll
How
give it a
long
shot.
does it take to crunch through that?
Well, I played the game before, so it took 15 hours, maybe.
Okay.
3 of those were grinding out the stupid rare enemy for the bestiary at the end of the game.
Oh, I always assume it's a full clear you're talking about.
yeah.
I was gonna say yes. So for Griffin, 8 hours.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not.
All of your shit levels up the way it's supposed to, so you can actually kill things at the end of the game now. So it goes pretty quick.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I heard recently that the ultimate spell, Ultima, in that game, was coded incorrectly, so that it was supposed to increase damage based on how many spell levels you had across all different spells, but the coder just did it wrong, and made it, I think, actually get weaker with more spell levels. And they asked him to fix it, and he just said, "No, I don't want to," and then he left.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Well, you'll be happy to know that Ultima is still completely worthless.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care, but
Nothing can beat a man with 2 axes.
yeah, I just thought that was a funny story.
That is
It's
interesting.
No, I don't. Think
I'd
I
rather
will.
not.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna leave.
All right. Well, talking about old games, since we're on that path, old as shit games, Jamie,
Yeah.
1000 Times Resist?
It's not old as shit. That's a 2025 game of the
2024.
year.
Yeah, there was a joke since
2024.
it's Jamie's only old game on his list.
I love this game so much. I am so surprised we haven't talked about it yet because I feel like I love it so much that I should have been shouting from the rooftops at you too. I should have gone to your neighbors' homes, go to Des Moines, go to Maine, get on your neighbors' roofs and start shouting. That's how much I love this game. I haven't beat it yet, and it's not that long as I understand it. Geoff will...
It's a little chunky, but it's, oh my god, it's so good.
It's the best video game, in a very particular way. It's certainly... it's going to be in one of my all-time faves. I know that already. I'm going to actually tell you how many hours I've put into it just so that you guys kind of know where I'm at, because I don't want to be 5 hours. So I don't want to go too deep into it because, I've actually come around a little bit on your side of things, Griff. I think my opinion could change, but with this game, I doubt it will. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's a visual novel and I feel like I've grown past those to a certain extent, but this one just hooks you in.
Big man. All right.
Well, I think maybe we've grown past the walking sim, right? I think that's the flip side of the
That's a
coin.
better way
I think
to
a
put it.
visual novel can still be really good.
Yes, 100%. That is what I meant. When I said that, that's what I had in my head. But I think that as a different thing entirely, as a visual novel, this thing succeeds in a way that I can't imagine. It's not, but again, it is a visual novel, so it's not as if it's the mechanics of this game that's captivating you. It's the story and the small amount of freedom that they give you around that story, which is just enough to make you feel really, really engaged. The story is quirky and unique enough that it really just keeps on leaving breadcrumbs and you keep on following them. The wrapper, the art style, is very, kind of B-game anime. So if you just were to see a screenshot, you might bounce off of it because you're like, oh, this is like every other B anime game that's like $15 on Steam right now. But you'd be doing yourself a big disservice if you did. I'm struggling, Geoff, to like explain why.
Yeah.
Can you do a better job, please?
I think you've definitely laid the groundwork well. So this game, it's I don't want to give too much away about the story because I feel like it's a game that you really just want to experience. But it really, so it was made, I think, around the time of the COVID pandemic, or it was started around, or it's certainly inspired by COVID. And it shows.
Yeah, I read an interview and it was started around COVID. It's very much COVID. Yeah. COVID inspired the story. So
it's made by a Canadian team who also are somewhere from Asia. They're like second generation immigrants from Asia. And they were talking about, or rather, it's very clear in the writing of the game that like their experience as immigrants, living in immigrant families where their parents were, raised out of Canada or out of, the Western world, that those themes come through a lot in the story, but the story is so much bigger than that. I guess what I will tell you about this story is that every character in the story, okay, not every character, but almost every character in this story is a clone of one person. I think that's not too much of a spoiler. You find out pretty fast.
Yeah, not at all.
That's like in the summary of the game. I think I'm aware of that as well.
Yeah. So almost every character in this story is a clone of one person, and you would think hearing that there wouldn't be a lot to do with that. You would be wrong. This story is so vast. It is so fascinating in its implications. It just touches on so many things. Like I said, kind of in-group, out-group, identity, the immigrant experience, COVID and isolation, being a teenager, being an adult, parenting, kind of generational trauma. There's so many big themes that are touched on here in
being
the context.
venerated when you're a douchebag, like
yeah. Well, that's complicated. It's you'll peel back the layers of the onion, and that one it resists a simple resolution, is what I would say with that, Jamie.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. It's doing some really fascinating stuff, and it is just extremely well written throughout. It is just very well realized. There's a clear vision that runs through it. It's kind of a buggy, unimpressive piece of tech, but it doesn't matter. It's doing something really, really cool. I think it's telling a story. Yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
Finish, Geoff, and then I think I've come to how I can explain it to Griff and Collin.
Sure.
Maybe.
I was going to say it's telling a story that I haven't seen a story like this attempted in gaming. I guess the closest I might. I just don't want to do too many film references, but it feels more like film, but it needs to be a video game because of the way in which you interact with the world. Go ahead, Jamie.
So here's how I'm gonna explain how it makes me feel. So rewind with me. It's around 2000, right? And you have this cool friend named Griffin, and he's cool, and he does something that none of your other friends do, which is he goes to the Suncoast in the mall and he buys VHS tapes of really weird anime shows like Trigun and Neon Genesis Evangelion, and you watch them with your friend. And you're immediately aware when you watch something like Trigun or Neon Genesis Evangelion for the first time, or Cowboy Bebop. Wow, this is very different. This is very unique. Like, I have never experienced a narrative quite like this. It's multifaceted, it's nuanced. There's a lot of existential dread, and you're just very aware as you're experiencing it that you are experiencing something completely singular. And I genuinely feel that way with this game for the first time, maybe in a long time. Like, I'm watching a story and I'm getting that same sense of like existential dread in a way that I felt like could not be captured again for the 37-year-old version of me. It's like a very deeply affecting game that is almost betrayed by its very conventional anime looking style. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Geoff, what do you think of that?
No, I think you said that well. I think that it is kind of a singular. It's the themes are not unheard of, and I can think of touchstones and like ways to kind of tie it to other media. But what it's doing and the package taken all together is just really special. It's really unique. I don't know that I'll play a game as ambitious and generally just successful in its ambition as this game. And that is to say, right, as Jamie said, not only does it look kind of anime, and boring, but it also has like some kind of funky voice acting, which actually works, but is weird.
Okay.
Some just overall just kind of jank and bugginess. But again, none of that matters because what it's trying to do and the story it's telling it's just so big. And it's so big but so intimate at the same time.
And when I saw that the publisher was the same as Citizen Sleeper 2, I was like, that makes sense. Like, the people who published Citizen Sleeper 2 would try this game and, like, jump at it and, like, demand that they be the ones to put out into the world. And, like, that made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
So I definitely on my list to play. I do have a question. So you guys brought up Citizen Sleeper. Let's talk about that next. But I do have one question about this 1,000 Times Resist. Jamie, compare this to Disco Elysium.
Ooh, well, they're both amazing, but they're completely different. Like,
Interesting.
Disco Elysium to me is like a West. It's inherently it's almost an East-West thing, and I don't mean that. I mean that almost in a literature sense. Like, I'm thinking about my English major years, and I'm thinking that Disco Elysium is very nihilistic, yet touching, and just like Nietzschean kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Go ahead, Jamie. I was just going to say, I'll pop in. I feel like Disco Elysium feels more like, a couple things. It feels more like literature, where I feel like 1,000 Times Resist is kind of more filmic. Would you agree with that, Jamie?
I would, and I would agree that there are times when you stumble upon a scene in 1000X Resist where it gives you more of that video game feeling, like you're in full control of the camera and you are seeing something which you might have missed, but it's completely bizarre and there's no attention being drawn to it at all. And if you did not train the camera on it, it would not have crossed your vision. Whereas in Disco Elysium, by the very nature of the way the camera is positioned and everything, like, you're seeing what you're supposed to be seeing if you get to a scene. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah. Also, I feel like Disco Elysium is very much like exploration of like politics and ideals and kind of the limits of those and the kind of ways in which they can erase humanity and maybe kind of lose their way, and kind of it separates being a person from embracing an ideology, I think. And also, it's just very much centered on this location and this kind of lore and history of this place and sort of how it got here. And it's a very morose game, I think, for a lot of the time. Whereas 1,000 Times Resist is definitely also quite morose, actually. But in other ways, it is very much its own thing.
There are characters that have hope, whether it's misplaced, whether it's faith that's misplaced. But there are characters who have a sense of optimism to them, or at least faith in the system, whereas I did not get the sense that anyone in Disco Elysium has faith in the system, right?
Yeah, it's just the scope feels very different. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like in some ways Disco Elysium is bigger because it wants to say something about society, which we live in. Whereas I feel like that's not what 1,000 Times Resist is doing. It's really kind of a story of one or a few people.
Gotcha.
Even though the scope is extremely grand. It's weird. It's like, in some ways, one is more ambitious or sprawling than the other, and in other ways, one is more intimate than the other. But neither one is all one or the other.
But when I hear you guys talk about them, when I hear you talk about 1,000 Times Resist, I'm struck with the same kind of like praise and dialogue that occurred from you guys around Disco Elysium. So hearing that you say, no, they're different, but then in describing them, they do still sound kind of like they're crossing over, has me even more interested in playing this game to see how it threads that needle.
I will say the one big similarity between them, and I have been thinking about Disco Elysium a little bit as I've been playing 1000X Resist, is I have this weird sense sometimes when I'm reading like a really good book or when I'm playing a really good video game, I have this weird feeling like this is so good that this same team could never do this again. Like this is completely singular.
Heartbreak.
Like this, there is something about this. Like the time was right, the people was right, the soundtrack was right, like everything was right, and we will never have another one of these. I have that sense playing both of these games.
We like Final Fantasy VIII.
Just like it. Listen, I kind of want to replay that, but that's a story for another day. No, I agree with you, Jamie. I think they both feel like required reading to me. Like, I'm so glad I engaged with both of these. They're in my like video game Criterion collection or something. I don't know, which is dumb to say, but like they are important to me, and I would say they're maybe important to other people if they're willing to take a look at them.
I mean, I think this game is hugely affecting, and I think it's having a reach that's wider than, you know, its indie roots would otherwise kind of lead it to have. Like, I've had patients who don't really play games talk to me about 1000X Resist. And so I feel like it's definitely striking some sort of nerve. It took a long time, though. Like, I didn't even know it existed until the year after it released. Geoff, I think you were a little faster on the uptake, but I think word is
not
getting
much
out.
so. I mean, basically, you know, to pull back the veil a little, we were talking about this, or I was kind of talking about this in text threads earlier this year, and I'm pretty sure that it like had its biggest sales day like 6 or 7 months like after it came out or something. It was something weird like that. So I feel like I caught the end of that kind of burst of recognition, but I'm so glad I did.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. And you both, Geoff, you finished it? You've seen it through its end?
I did. And I was going to say, this is a game where I think it sticks the landing. So get excited, Jamie.
Hell yeah. Okay, good. All right. Well, let's move on. As promised, let's talk about Citizen Sleeper 2. It's on, I think, the majority of our list. Collin, are you aware of it at least? Or
I am aware of it. You'll definitely see this on my games played list in 4 years.
Nice.
I am aware of it. I did, when you were talking about it to me before, I went and looked into it and I watched some gameplay. It looks really cool.
Yeah, gameplay. Watching the gameplay of this is an interesting thing that would get you moving on it. I think that's funny. But yeah,
it's stylish. It looks good.
Yeah,
it's not what I expected it to look like.
Yeah, it is definitely not a. It's funny. It's a mechanics front and center, but it's not a visually gamey game. It's like a board game where you're kind of moving dice or moving around a table, rolling dice.
Well, I guess when I say I watched gameplay, I watched the YouTube video about the game.
Sure.
The one. There's only one, guys.
There's only one YouTube video?
So does anybody want to take lead on it? Geoff, Jamie, otherwise I can. Citizen Sleeper. Why
don't you hit it,
what's
Griff,
the full name?
Because we just talked about 1000 Times Resist a lot.
Yeah.
I'd love to chime in, but
sure. Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector.
Nailed it.
Yep, that's how you say it in English, like a human. So sequel to Citizen Sleeper. I particularly enjoyed that game because when the previous one came out back in 2022, it made a list for me. I was really impressed for it. I loved how the dice mechanic was transparent, and I love in this sequel how everything has been retained, but it has been enhanced ever so slightly to add some complications in and make it a little bit more trying, give it a little bit more depth. So basically, the story premise is, what if you, as a functioning human being, sold off your consciousness and made a split copy of your personality and sold it into more or less slave labor to perform menial labor to some extent. And it explores that narrative of what is it like to basically be, a ghost in a shell, wondering what your existence is as a copy of a thing, of a living thing that, may not be living anymore, which that doesn't go too far beyond, like, let me stop there. That exploration ends fairly quickly, and it takes more of the humanistic angle on that of saying, like, okay, this is what I am, how do I exist day to day, and how do I influence people and worlds around me. So it's not such as like the sci-fi dwelling on the concept of individuality and that sort of a thing. It's more of just like a nice vehicle to tell a story with somebody who has amnesia. And that is definitely back in the sequel.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is definitely some sort of, in the text, right? Not so much in the outcomes of the decisions, but in the text, in the flavor, there is some allusion to sort of like, what does it mean that there's another you out there somewhere? Do you owe something to them? Do you, does your past mean something, even though you are, an emulated consciousness in a plastic body, right? Like, that's there, but it might as well be set dressing.
Yes. I will say, though, that I think in both games, there's a fairly significant role towards the end of them where it is about being and what does it mean to be a being, what is, sentience and all that good stuff. But the majority of the game's story, beat to beat, is just about how you're, managing, eking out an existence, always on the back heel because of this really fun mechanic that the game has, where it is very transparent, very forward. You get into a situation, and the situation says, "Hey, you have to perform a task, and to perform that task, you roll die, and you, as a player, choose which die you want to utilize to influence that roll." So basically, it's a 6-sided die. 6 is going to be a 100% chance success.
Critical
and
success.
Then, whatever terminology you want to give to that. And then, your 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s would be the combination of absolute failure and mixed successes. And then the situation that you're engaging in also has some like high stakes, low stakes, high risk, low risk, depending on which of your levels of criticality, like your success die, you use in those situations. You nudge that outcome into being a 50% chance to be successful with risk, or 25% chance to be absolute failure, 50% chance to be success, 25% chance to be absolute success. So the mechanic of it is you start your day in the game. That's in game. You wake up. It's daytime in the space station. You roll your dice and you say, okay, I've got my 6 dice, and I've got 3 1s and 2 4s. And you're like, fuck, man, like this is going to be kind of a rough day. Because the reason why you're doing those things is you're battling a series of clocks. And this is something I absolutely adore and really influenced how I was DMing when the first game came out, where the game puts very forward to the player without any obfuscation and says, hey, something is going to happen in 6 days. You have to fill this clock. You have to fill this this wedge of pie with 6 successes over the, or let's say 4 successes before the 6-day clock comes, and then you're performing the activities, taking on these situations that happen in the game, applying your dice to that, and then the outcome could be a 100% success. Great, you get a slice or 2 to fill that clock, or it's a failure, and oh no, the big threatening 6 clock has now advanced 2 forward, and you've got 4 days instead of 5 days, or a mixed failure where you're like, yeah, you get 1 slice, but your day ends early. So it's really cool in how it takes a mechanic and makes it very player forward. I wouldn't say player friendly. It just demystifies how random, quote unquote, chance activities are happening in video games in a way that like exceeds in a tabletop game setting. So love that. There are more complications in this version to make it more complex and adding more layers into it. But I'm going to take a breath here, grab a beverage, and turn it over to Geoff. I think you probably want to talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so that was a good summary, Griff. So yeah, so kind of the, bullet points, right, are you start each day, you have a certain number of dice that are set to various numbers that you've rolled. You decide how to slot them into various skill checks. Some consequences that Griff didn't touch on, which might be new to this game, I can't remember. Sometimes, if the stakes are high enough, you failing can actually disable your dice. And if your dice are disabled, that actually means that you can't, you have one fewer die to slot into skill checks every day. So it's really bad. And the cost of getting that repaired is quite high. So,
and if you're me, you get one or a few of those in the first mission.
Yes. And so this game, the difference with this game and the one that came before it, so Citizen Sleeper did have
glitches are new. Yeah. So the glitch dice is new.
So Citizen Sleeper, the first game, did have countdowns, right? But there was a period after a certain point, the game sort of let you. The only countdown you had to worry about was getting this product called Stabilizer, which would keep you from shutting down. And as long as you could secure that, which was relatively easy, you wouldn't die, you wouldn't lose. In this game, there's a lot more going on. So number one, you're being chased pretty much the whole game. You have this person who is tracking you, and you can't stay. This game has multiple sectors rather than just one ship, which the first game has. You can't stay in one sector for too long, or else this person will find you, and that's bad news. That might just be a fail state, I'm not sure. The other thing this game does is it adds essentially.
I can tell you, it's not.
Oh, okay.
That's great. That's awesome.
Interesting. Okay, it's not good though. I'm sure it messes you up. But anyway, the other thing this game adds is basically what I forget what they're called in the fiction of the game, but they're basically missions that you can undertake where you take your ship, you
Contracts,
go out.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's right. You go out to some location within the star system that takes a certain amount of time, a certain amount of fuel, and a certain amount of food. And you go out there and you have to do a little mini mission within a time frame. And you have with you some crew members. So this game, one of the fun things about Citizen Sleeper is that it has some really well realized characters that are both aesthetically really cool. They have some really cool art, have some really interesting lore. It also kind of notably is like a very queer friendly game. So there's a lot of really cool stuff going on there. Like Griffin said, it's very humanistic. It's a cyberpunk aesthetic, but it's very optimistic and very, in my opinion, it's very like supportive of the human spirit. But anyway, so
in the face of a hell of a lot of bleakness.
Yes. It's surviving and choosing hope in the face of crushing obstacles. But so
also in the gameplay too, I would say that it echoes that very succinctly.
Yes, the gameplay definitely it kind of embodies the themes. But so yeah, you go on these missions, and again, it's like stress, right? You as you fail, usually a failure on a mission is a lot worse than a failure just on a hub world. So that'll be like more likely to disable your dice. Cause all kinds of problems. Your crewmates can get messed up. They also supply dice that you can use for checks. It's just like a very high stakes situation. And the game is really built around these contracts. So basically in this game, at any given point, you're always staring down like a pretty substantial, consequential timer, which I think that was kind of their effort to just ramp up the tension between the first and the second game. And I think it broadly works. I think that by the end of the game, it was a little easier to kind of game the system, which was true in the first game as well. But I felt like it was pretty high stakes throughout. I think this game felt maybe a little... It's weird. You have like more freedom of motion, but I feel like my choices didn't matter as much this time around.
Interesting.
Like I was kind of being funneled to the same outcome regardless of what I did.
So, thanks for going into more detail on that. I think that the important thing gameplay-wise to take away from this is there are clocks counting down, always, and unlike the first game, there are layers of clocks that you're battling against. And this is where I find it really interesting that you feel like the feelings that you just described did not match with me. I had a very hard time with it, in which I basically hit what would have been a fail state for the game, that I could not progress. I went online to like help forums to see if there's any suggestions, and the best help that I could find was from the website of the company of the game that said, hey, if you get stuck at this and this is happening to you, just turn the difficulty down to easy, dig yourself out of the hole, and get going again. And that's exactly what I had to do, because like we mentioned before, glitches would occur if you get so much stress or whatnot in your away missions, and that would then cause your dice to, on the start of the day, basically be a glitch dice that would say, this will always... what was it? Is it a 50-50 shot at
It's
success?
neutral or negative.
Neutral, thank you.
It's 20% neutral, 80 negative, I think, or something. So, maybe 30
yeah.
neutral.
Oh, that's right.
There's no success state to it. So if you get to a point where you just start spiraling out of control and that you have so many glitches and so much stress building that you can't clear stress and you can't do enough activities to then clear the glitches by getting rid of your glitch die with a success, I was locked down to a point where I was like, all right, I'm just watching the chips bleed as day after day I just get another glitch. I get more stress, and I couldn't get myself out of that hole. So I had to turn it down to easy, which basically says, I turned it down to easy, which that says your glitch die, I think, God, maybe I should look this up, but it's something like there's still a success chance off it. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. But I got myself out and cleared some of the glitches and then got moving again. And I really did feel like in those missions, I would make choices and I was rushing. When I look back on how I was playing, like I was playing fast and loose. I was not being thorough. I was not like being patient with it. I was really pushing, trying to beat the clocks as early as possible and just be brazen and move fast. And it bit me in the ass, and I got a bunch of glitches, and I couldn't get out of it. Which was really cool, Jamie. I think you had said it worked really well in terms of your story that you were kind of telling in your head. Really worked out timing-wise well, where I kind of hit that downward spiral around the time that the game was also like, hey, you're in a real state of things right now, and then the climb back up to then kind of rebuilding the party, rebuilding the activities, seeing the turn of events as everything kind of starts going in your favor, and then finally to that ultimate outcome where the wheels are kind of off on purpose. Felt really cool, and like I built myself up, and I was like, okay, I've been here before. I know what's going to happen. It's time to put this character to bed, and it felt like a really cool story and experience for me playing that game.
Yeah,
that's well said, Griff. I think that it's the like mechanical possibilities in this game have gone up so much, right? And that there's really interesting emergent situations that can occur. I think what I noted was that the actual narrative felt a little more railroady than last time.
Sure. Yeah, but you're probably right there.
You're right. I think it was probably a conscious decision on the part of the developers. Like, we'll amp up the possibilities in these mechanics and let the player kind of build their own story around what it means to have glitch dice and lose the ability to participate in these skill checks. But the trade-off there, right, was we're all kind of following the same rough path.
Yeah.
But,
I just, one of the things that was really unique about my playthrough, as I mentioned, was, I really had so I played the first game a little. I did not have a deep understanding of the first game, and therefore I went into this game completely misunderstanding the core mechanics of the game and breaking a bunch of dice really early and getting a permanent glitch really early, but then having to like learn, even when you have failed in this game time and time again, you still need to take risks, and it becomes part of like the narrative. And I feel like I clawed my way out of that hole pretty early, and it forced me to learn a couple things that I carried through, the rest of the narrative. And then, towards the end of the game, that mechanic becomes very central to what the character is going through.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like I kind of came full circle. It was such a cool kind of emergent thing.
That was a cool mechanical storytelling bit at the end there. Yeah, without getting too...
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of?
Territory.
Final Fantasy Crisis Core.
But honestly, I understand. I do understand.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I'm so glad that Jamie, you and I had the exact same beautiful, unique, unduplicative moments.
Yeah.
It sounds like you both experienced hardship and strife, but you navigated it very differently, which I love.
Well, I think the game was a little easier to me, perhaps because it was like the first mission, and immediately thereafter, I feel like I took my lumps then, and I could imagine that if you happen to run into a string of bad luck deeper into the game, I bet it's harder to dig yourself out of that than it was for me.
So you're saying you're built different?
Yep.
Listening to all of this, is this a situation where you would benefit from playing the first game first?
No,
it's not necessary.
I mean, just as far as like a mechanics of the game thing is concerned.
You'd probably be at a detriment because...
Oh, really?
I tried to play it like I played the first game, which was like, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to run this hard and fast, and I'm going to get ahead of the curve of the difficulty and just try and one-up it. And
it didn't work.
That's where I went right into Glitch City.
Okay.
I was going to say, sometimes you got to go to bed, man. Just let those dice sit. Leave the ones behind. No,
yeah,
I think
you're absolutely right.
It might be nice just to like check out a quick like tips video. I seem to recall the game doesn't tutorialize super well out the gate.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
That I think is what is done. Yeah.
Leave the ones behind, but sometimes don't.
Yeah.
Like leave them behind.
You gotta swallow those ones, but
yeah,
often leave them behind.
Or just play it and see what happens. That's also good.
Fair.
Great game.
All right.
Fabulous game.
Good. All right. What are we talking about next?
Hey, Griffin.
Hi.
How did you find a game about digging a hole?
Oh, I mean, good. I enjoyed it.
No. How did you hear about this game?
Oh, they were talking about it on Nextlander. So they said it was very, very relaxing. Like surprisingly more depth than it actually has any.
I get it.
Any ground to stand on. So I thought I'd give it a shot. I mean, it was described as a very, very kind of simple tech demo-y, but actually very like therapeutic in a way that you can kind of just put a podcast on, listen to it, and dig some holes. And that is exactly what it was. So I sent it all to you guys.
The new Donkey Kong game, and it's like this game's irrelevant now.
I was gonna say there is certainly some. I had that thought as well. I was like, DK Bonanza right after that.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much to say. I'm glad you guys all gave it a shot. I don't know. I mean,
not yet. Soon.
Okay. Well, if you don't, you're not missing a whole lot. No, I mean, Donkey Kong will probably do it better.
You're missing a lot of holes, though.
Yeah. It's called a game about digging a hole, and it's just that,
Truly is.
I don't think there's too much time. There's too much to go into this on.
No.
You should play it. It's nice.
It's like an hour and a half to clear, perhaps, right?
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it's kind of like the mechanics of a clicker, where it's just kind of like an escalation of a simple task that you just kind of do. But there's something kind of cool about it. I especially liked kind of towards the back end of it, going and looking back at like, holy shit, this is actually super deep. This is like very, very...
guys.
This is very hard to navigate. This I did go far into the ground, and that was about it.
Yep. It's true.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you
No
go
hidden
beyond,
message.
Can you go beyond the endpoint? The first endpoint? I didn't try. I was good. I was like, I don't need to play this game anymore.
Can you go beyond the endpoint?
Yeah. I entered a space and an ending occurred.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
go deeper than that?
I don't think so.
You saw the moving truck again?
I did.
Okay, then
Yeah.
that's the end of the game.
Okay.
You did it. Congratulations.
I dug a hole.
I think there's a point where you can't even use your little digger tool anymore.
Yeah, there's definitely some hard walls you hit.
Yeah.
Just like life.
Yeah, because
Well, thanks. Glad you hate that game, Geoff, and it's an absolute waste of your time.
I liked it okay.
I mean,
We can pivot on that thought about Nintendo and talk about a waste of time and just absolute garbage, or we can still talk about some video games. I think we got.
Hold on. While we're talking about Nintendo being a waste of time and absolute garbage, I still don't really understand Xenoblade Chronicles X as a Xenoblade Chronicles lover. That game's real weird. I don't get it, guys.
Is this a remake of the first one, or is this a new game?
This is a remake of the Wii U 1.5 Quill that was like a totally different game.
Okay.
It's set in a completely different universe that's just about exploring a planet, really. And terrible story and just lots and lots of filler quests. I don't get it, guys. I don't get it at all.
That's
a shame.
Xenogears.
You
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Xenoblade. I love Xenogears.
Okay.
Yeah.
Acceptable. So Xenoblade I thought was okay. Xenoblade 2
So you're saying you're a bit of a xenophobe?
no, I love Xenoblade
nice.
2
Yes.
very much. More than I perhaps should. Xenoblade 3 I also really liked. The first game I didn't love, but the sequels I've really enjoyed. But X is dumb. That's my review. I'll probably play it some more, but it's dumb. Don't even worry about it. It's too much.
Okay.
I don't even want to talk about it too much, but I just want to say Assassin's Creed Shadows, pretty cool.
Okay.
Okay, that's the one that I wanted to talk about the most of these. So I've heard great things that it's like, oh, it's back to form. It's actually like treating the history really well, and it's really cool. And the two character system is really great. So I don't know, Jamie. Sounds like you're having a great time with it.
Yeah, I played about 7 hours. It's taking me away from 1000X Resist, so I'll say that. And there are two different experiences in this hobby that we have. But, I feel like 1000X Resist kind of takes you places emotionally. And I just started a job, a lot of responsibility. So sometimes you just want to assassinate some fools.
Sometimes you just want to dig a hole.
Yeah. And this game rules. It's really kind of... okay, so my history with the franchise, played the OG ones, loved Odyssey, liked the Vikings one, didn't play too much of it, did not play the more recent entry into the series before this one.
Is that Mirage?
Yes, did not
I think
play
that was
Mirage. And now I'm playing this one. I received some pieces of advice from a friend before I started playing that make the game. So I'm going to tell you guys what they are.
Oh, hell
and then
yeah.
If you play this game, you must do these two things, and I encourage you to do a third thing that I did not do, but I wish I did.
Before we get on to that, let's take a commercial break.
Okay.
And we're back
Whoa.
with
That was so fast.
Jamie's top 10 things that Assassin's Creed's developers don't want you to know about beating their game.
It's the first thing
And
you
there's
have
a
to do,
fourth
delete
tip.
Twitter.
If you become a Diamond Plus patron, I'll give you the fifth tip. You won't even be playing the game anymore. It'll be something entirely new. No, I'll tell you guys the two things that you have to do. The first thing you have to do is turn on immersive mode. Immersive mode gets rid of the English voice acting, and it makes it Japanese voice acting for the characters who should be speaking Japanese, Portuguese voice acting for the characters who should be speaking Portuguese. The lip sync is matched up to those languages. Just do that. It's really well done. So that's the first thing you have to do is immersive mode. The second thing you have to do is you have to turn on assassination instant kills to make it feel like the OG games. And that, I think, is actually buried in the accessibility menu.
Oh, wild.
Yeah, it's worth turning on. I made those two changes, and because of that, I feel like I'm having an absolute blast, and this game is like really special to me. A third thing that some people are doing that I did not do is you can turn on canon mode, where basically you don't make any decisions in the story, and there are actually a fair number. love making decisions in games. So of course I love RPGs. So of course I did not do that. And then being surfaced with some of the decisions that from the game, I'm like, you know what? I wish this was just a stupid cutscene. So
Oh, interesting.
turn on canon mode.
Can you not switch that back on after you started?
You cannot. You have to choose that from the beginning. Immersive mode, you can go back and forth with the voice acting, but you cannot change canon mode, unfortunately. So anyway, just some quick highlights for the game. One, it's absolutely gorgeous. If you can play it on PC and you're lucky enough to have a nice card that can do ray tracing, you do that because this game has, I think, the best implementation of ray tracing I've seen in any game. And I say that because it affects gameplay. And I say that because light sources in this game are extinguishable and they affect whether you're seen or not. And they also just make the whole scene look kick-ass. So, if you're lucky enough to have a card that can do halfway decent, global illumination with ray tracing, please try it that way because it really transforms the game. It also just makes the game look just very visually cohesive. And when you put it on immersive mode and you're hearing the Japanese voices and you have the ray tracing on, it just feels like an actual, I'm taking this from Digital Foundry because they said this, but I actually agree with it. Among all those things, it feels like a generational leap. Like I haven't played anything on PS5 that's like, oh wow, this is definitely not a PS4 game. But this with ray tracing is like a generational leap, and it's really cool looking. And the other thing is, there's so much story. There's like tons of cutscenes that are good. And the vibe is so different and weird in the way that Odyssey was kind of cool and weird because Cassandra is kind of this like psychopath weirdo, very like endearing character.
Wait, was Cassandra your character or the villain character for you?
She was my character.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
The only choice.
In this game...
The only choice is right, yeah.
Exactly. In this game, you go back and forth between two characters. You do not choose when you go back and forth between them for some time. I have not reached that point yet. I'm 7 hours in. And they both
So like 1/100th of an Assassin's Creed time playthrough.
They seem very different and very cool. One is a tank. He charges through walls. One is this like little ninja who can't like carry people and throw them in hay baskets fast enough. She's like too weak. Very different feeling characters. But the story is like very Kill Bill, like not what I was expecting at all. Like some weird, campy Western nonsense. And I'm like totally here for it. And I've just been constantly surprised by this game. I got it because I heard the ray tracing was good, I'll be honest. And the game is amazing. So
Sweet.
Definitely check it out.
This is so heartening to hear because I still use Twitter, the worst platform of all time. All I hear about is woke, just constantly. People are so angry at this game for existing.
So you're saying that Parler is better than Twitter?
Nope. Okay. That's not an app. That's made
It's
up.
not
That's
even
not a real
woke.
thing.
I mean, you guys know me. I'm as lefty as they come, but this game isn't woke. I don't get it. It's just not.
Jamie, if there are people of color in the game and women, it's woke.
There are people of color in the game being treated like garbage because they're people of color.
Now we're talking.
Yes, but some of them have power, so that's not good.
Oh, well, that's fantasy. I'm excited to play it because, Jamie, it sounds like you and I have extremely similar pedigrees. Odyssey, I loved. I thought Odyssey had no business being as good as it was, and I enjoyed it immensely. And then I didn't play Valhalla. You know, it's my rule of you have to play an Assassin's Creed and then take the next year off of Assassin's Creed because it's just too much for a single human to handle. So I was hoping.
Did you play Mirage?
Well, that one didn't count, right?
Okay, good.
Like it doesn't really count. Like it's the Alarmo of consoles.
Nice.
Odyssey was
so
freaking
glad to
good,
hear
though.
this is good.
Oh,
Odyssey was very good.
yeah.
Little time check here, fellers. I think it is probably. I would love to tell you more about my time with Monster Hunter Wilds, or I know Collin and I have been doing some Helldivers stuff, so we'll have to table those for another time, unless anybody has anything burning a hole in their being. We got to talk about Nintendo.
Let's talk about it.
All right, and I'm going to table the voice actor chat though, but even though it's fucking fascinating, we'll save that.
We'll just
for
have
next
to
time
do
too.
it again in a few weeks.
I was going to say, alternatively, we could break this bad boy up into pieces.
No way. Let's get her done.
All right. After the dust has settled on Nintendo, I'm just going to talk about it because we know I'm the biggest
Geoff
Nintendo head
Sama. Yeah, please.
It's fine. I mean, I hope it doesn't go up in price with the whole freaking tariff nonsense. I think the problem that they have is they just dropped so much crappy information all at once, right? I think if it were just maybe one piece of crappy information, people would be like, okay, like whatever, like I get it. I think if the console was $450 and every game was $70, people would be like, all right, sure. I think Mario Kart being $80 and the console being $450 and that stupid Welcome Tour game not being free and the upcharge for all of the Switch 2 editions, and just it's been a messaging disaster, I think. No one has come out to explain the thought process, to explain why we're being asked to pay the amount of money we're being asked to pay for these different products. No one has said why Mario Kart is, $20 more than Mario Kart 8. Someone should just explain that. They don't even have to acknowledge that Switch 2 games are now $70. They could just say, oh, Mario Kart is like a massive game. We've never done anything like this before. Here's why it's $10 more. But they haven't done that. And they won't do that because modern, current Nintendo has very controlled, limited communication. And it's really annoying. That's my take. Also, hey, those games look pretty fun. The Switch 2 looks like a cool piece of hardware.
Switch 2 looks like a cool piece of hardware. I agree with that.
So is no one else having... Okay, I really don't want to sound like a jerk, but like my reaction to the... And am I right in that it's $80 digital and $90 physical?
No.
It's for Europeans.
Yeah, for Europeans, it's €90 physical, but America, it's 80 both.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
So,
I also thought it was 90 physical, and then the game isn't even on the card aneway.
No, that's not true.
That's the secret of everything.
No, the game key cards are a different... Which actually, the more I've thought about it, they're not great, but they're better than download codes. Because you can actually share them across devices. But anyway, go ahead, Jamie.
So, like, my reaction was... Oh, please don't hate me. My reaction was, oh, thank God. Now, like, normal people can charge what games should cost. Because Nintendo's going to make it okay to charge. Because honestly, like, I feel
Wait, you think
like,
this is a good thing? You think that Nintendo taking the step into the higher price is now going to allow others to follow suit, and I'm guessing, presumably, to allow developers to get more money for the products and time that they're putting into shit?
That was my thought.
Yeah.
So please rebut. Please.
No,
please
I think
tell
that's a
me why
very
I'm wrong.
level-headed approach to a price hike.
I basically agree. I mean, you're right, Jamie. I think you have to... All this stuff is like, people got to get paid. The industry has to survive. I just wish they'd done a better job with explaining themselves. That's really what I wanted. I want them to sell a gazillion of these things. And I feel they might not.
The marketing is so confused. I mean, granted, there are things that are happening that are out of their control, but it's like, is it going on pre-sale next week or not?
No,
like I guess it's
tariffs.
not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so that is the messaging that has been said, right? Nintendo says we're ceasing pre-orders in the United States because of the complexity of the tariff situation by the United States government. Now, take that as you will. I sure am. Because the feeling that I got was once that price was not announced during the Direct, that the higher than expected cost was a direct result of the tariffs preceding any formal announcements.
That's the problem, right? When you don't explain yourself, people fill in the gaps. I think that's the issue here. I think it's... look, by all accounts, it's an impressive piece of hardware. It's running Cyberpunk better than a PS4. I mean, that's impressive, right? For what it is.
No, it's not really.
I'm think it is. For it being a handheld, I think that's damn impressive. It's running.
I mean, sure. Yeah.
It's running Metroid Prime at 1080p, 120 FPS. I mean, that's crazy.
It's a step in the right direction.
The Switch ran Doom Eternal.
Yeah, but it ran it garbagely.
I love playing Doom Eternal at 8 frames per second.
Yeah,
I was
baby.
going to say, this is a different situation. This is like, running a current gen game with good performance.
Doom Eternal was Vulkan, right? So you were playing at 30 frames per second, but it looked like you were at the beach and your dad spilled the suntan lotion all over the screen.
It was like 360p. It was like not, you know, we're talking really bad. I mean, this is a good piece. This is definitely more powerful than a Steam Deck.
But I agree. I'm like, my big thing, and I did not watch the Direct all the way through. I went back later and watched snippets. Like, where is the... I'm here for it. I'm going to buy it. I'm excited. Where is, like, the magic? Where is the secret sauce? The game, the mouse functionality is not enough. Like, I mean, the chat thing is cool. That's actually cool. Like, I can imagine myself playing Mario Kart with you guys using the stupid chat thing and the camera and stuff. But like,
I did like Kyle Bosman's description of that button as a button you have to pay to press.
That when I saw that, I was like, oh fuck, this is gonna be Geoff saying how Nintendo invented chat.
No,
and
I don't.
I
thought it looked
Nintendo
bad.
has fooled the fanboys to think they've actually done something that's been done 15 years ago
I thought that
and better.
Looked pretty lame. I will never use that. No, I'll use that with you guys, but it won't be good.
Well, you're gonna have to pay $180 for the Nintendo camera to stand up next to you. No, I don't know.
It's
I mean,
$50. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna buy it, but
it's $80 if you want the cool Piranha Plant camera.
that's 80 bones for that one.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Jamie, going back to your point of pricing on it, I thought that I could swallow the pill of pricing a little bit because I was like, you know what? Nintendo keeps their online service pricing low. And if this is a way for them to continue that, like, hey, it's still only $20 a year, which is insane to me, you know, to have online for Nintendo game stuff. And that was like, all right, so they're going to make it up in the games and hardware. But they'll keep the online service at a lower cost. Like, I was like, all right, I can get behind that again. But Geoff, to your point, like when there is no mention made as to any of the rationale behind any of it, it just keeps snowballing into what the fuck is happening with everything happening here, with everything going on here.
How do you have 2 days of live chat on Treehouse spammed with drop the price in all caps over and over and over and over again? And do nothing.
And presumably an extra year to figure your shit out from when this was supposed to get announced last year.
And I'm like questioning everything. I'm like, okay, yes, the launch titles, they look lovely. Like Mario Kart will probably be the best selling game on the system. But like, I think this is maybe a time to like go out more than 6 months, you know? Like, show me the year ahead. Don't just show me 6 months. Like, as you said, Jamie, I think this Direct, I mean, it was hurt by technical difficulties during the Direct, but it lacked a certain je ne sais quoi. Like, I don't even think that any of the constituent elements of this console and its portfolio of games were bad, except for Dragon Drive, which looks like garbage. But
I'm canceling Nintendo.
I just think it was not a very good Direct, and it's made especially confusing given how long it's taken for them to roll this thing out. Like, they should have polished their messaging to a mirror sheen, and it just felt very limp.
Totally.
I've been disappointed by Directs for a long time now.
I mean, that's kind of a running gag, right? That they're disappointing.
I just
something is different. You know, again, Griffin, I know we touched on this briefly, but Kit and Krista, who used to work in communications at Nintendo and have now left, they are beating the drum on basically saying like Doug Bowser is a bad president. Back when Reggie was there and when they had folks who cared about how we looked in the U.S. market, there was more done and more collaboration between East and West that led to better consumer relations. I don't know if that's true or not, but...
let's take that. A pin to put in that with actual facts is there's a Japanese-only price available for this product that is significantly cheaper than it is for the rest of the world. Yeah. That's fucked up, man.
Yeah, I mean that everyone thought that was like indicative of the fact that tariffs must have been the reason for the price going up, but now it's like we don't know.
Right.
Yeah. But
was
yeah,
it
like
300 I don't even know if it's Japanese dollars or yen or if it's translated.
It's because of the weak yen. So it's 49,980 yen. So it would be like 500 US if the yen were strong, but the yen is very weak, so it's like 334 US. So it might be more in response to Japanese market conditions than it is in response to tariffs. But again, it's just, please do something about the messaging. It's a mess.
Yep. I mean, I'll be honest. Like I said at the top too, the product looks cool. It looks fine. I mean, it's bigger. It's snappier. It looks, I mean, the fact that it's like, hey, the whole back catalog is playable for the most part. Like 18,000 games can run on your Switch 2 or something like that. Is really neat. Now, again, that's all muddled and bungled by poor messaging around pricing and around the upgrade programs and what that actually looks like when the rubber meets the road. But I think overall, as like a product, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Just not. I need it to breathe. Unlike the Switch, I need it to just kind of get its legs under it for a little bit. Not because I'm worried about technical difficulties or anything. But like I want to see how this goes, and I want to see some games I actually give a shit, like a real shit about.
Yeah. I think, it's my disappointment is not that I think it's going to be a bad piece of hardware. I think I'm going to love it. I think it's going to be incredible. But my disappointment is as a longtime fan who would like for them to continue their success because I like what they do. And I'm like, this feels like a 3DS situation. But like maybe like, I don't know, not worse, but just, I don't know. It's a mess.
I'm surprised that they are going for the things that they're going for. Like, it's very not Nintendo to me to hawk 120 frames per second and not have any truly weird shit that you're pedaling along with your console, like a weird C button.
Oh, the mouse?
Attaches. Well, I guess that, but like,
I think the mouse is okay.
That was like a third of the messaging. I thought when I was watching it.
I think the mouse. I've yet to be convinced that it'll be comfortable to use, but I think it's kind of cool. I mean, I'd play like Civ 7 on a TV with that thing.
It reminded me of the 1-2 Switch stuff, where it's like, look, it's got an IR sensor in it, and then after like the first 3 months go by, you're like, okay, whatever, man, sure, it's there.
I mean, it's a bit of a statement that they're adding mouse support to Metroid Prime. I think.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I want to play that on a handheld in 120 FPS. That's dope. You can play it 720p 120 on the handheld. That's crazy town.
Yeah. I'm like super, like I said, I'm here for it. I'm just like, there's no raison d'etre. I mean, there is a raison d'etre, which is it's bigger, it's faster, it's more powerful.
And the old one was extremely weak. Yeah. There's a very good raison d'etre. They just didn't do their job.
Yeah. One of the interesting things that maybe makes me less surprised about the Asia-specific price is that, as I've talked about on this podcast before, I have an affliction. It's called audiophilia. And one thing that I've noticed in the audiophile corner, cesspool of the internet is that, back in the 2010s, audio stuff cost the same for everyone, and now it absolutely does not. And if you want to get like a really kick-ass pair of IEMs and you happen to live in Singapore, you can get like a really cool pair of IEMs for like $40 or $50, and that same pair in the US is going to be like $150, and vice versa, even before tariffs. Like if you live in the US and you want to buy a really cool amp from a company called Shit, like it's pretty cheap. And if you live in Australia and you want to buy the same amp, it's double the price. So I've seen those discrepancies grow over the last like decade. I don't know why that's happening. And I guess I wasn't so surprised to hear that there's like a different price in Japan. I mean, it's built in Japan. They don't need to ship it out.
It's not, though.
It's built in Vietnam.
It's not?
China,
it's built in
Never mind.
Vietnam and China. In order to avoid tariffs, manufacturing has been moved to certain other countries that have lower global tariff costs for producing products.
Unfortunately, they were then hit with insane tariffs.
Even bigger tariffs.
Hey, I have to hop off, guys. So I'm going to let you guys finish without me. But now that I'm about to leave, feel free to say how you really feel about Nintendo.
Anybody who likes Nintendo sucks.
No. Bye, guys.
Bye, Geoff. Thank you.
Goodbye.
It's for babies.
Go get your pre-order.
Did you register your interest, Griff?
I didn't, because I had put this in the group chat that, you know, longtime listeners will know that I like to vote with my dollar and take a completely meaningless stance on certain things. So
It's a man the principle.
in my completely worthless principles, I'm not going to do anything with the Switch for at least 2020 until 2026. So not going to pre-order, not going to click the I'm interested button. Nintendo needs to feel the pain that a customer of theirs is not going to engage in their system or buy their product for at least 6 months. Now, right, eventually I will buy it, of course, because presumably there'll be good games on it at some point. I'm not going to play it. And especially, more importantly, a lot of these games that are coming out, notably Pokemon ZA, is still coming out for the Switch. Mm-hmm. So I'm in no rush to get a new product, especially one that I think the company is doing a poor job managing it of.
Donkey Kong is not enough to sell this console to me.
Word. Nor Metroid Prime 4. But again, that's playable on Switch.
I almost have a sense that, like, you're probably making a pretty smart decision, because I just feel like there are so many gaps in terms of how they're messaging it, so many holes in terms of why we should want this. Like, I've almost got half a mind, like, they're going to come out with 1.0, and, like, I feel like something's going to be wrong with it.
I just don't think there's going to be a mea culpa, though. Like, Geoff brought up the 3DS and the Ambassador program, which I loved. I loved 3DS when it came out, and I was super jazzed about that. And I love being an ambassador and getting those games. That was
cool.
Great.
That was fun.
I don't foresee them doing something similar to that with the Switch 2. I just don't have that feeling because this console launch feels like a hubristic Xbox event, or Sony and the PlayStation 3 era at its worst, where it's just they come out so tone deaf, and the marketing and the sales pitch is like, you're gonna buy it because you're a fucking bitch for Nintendo. and I was that for Sony for the PlayStation 3, and I'll still stand by that decision, but I think in this case it just is so presumptuous that I And again, Geoff's not here, but to reiterate his point, like, the lack of transparency and the lack of any sort of messaging just really hurts the whole experience for this launch. And I don't know if we've said it yet, but feels very un-Nintendo, right? Like,
yep.
The lack of polish, the lack of, they're not particularly transparent, but at least to have a message, or at least to have a spokesperson to stand up like Reggie and just be like, fuck you. We're like,
I miss Reggie.
Yeah, Reggie, man.
I've been the Nintendo sucker many times. They've gotten me many times rebuying the same product at full price. I love Nintendo, but it's getting like super tiresome. And then I see here's our Astro's Playroom equivalent. What's it called? The Welcome Home. It's like, but you have to pay for it, and you also have to pay $60 for your Tears of the Kingdom smartphone app, and whatever else. Oh my god!
Yeah, it just keeps on stacking up.
I have no problem paying the $450 or the $80 for a game. No problem at all if it's actually worth that amount.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Jamie, to your point, like, if that money is more money needed because we want to compensate developers, right? Like, hell yeah, man. Or we want to keep the costs low on, the online program. Like, yeah, absolutely.
But to Geoff's point and to your point, it's so true. Like, when they don't explain those things, and when they just kind of say, this is the price, take it or leave it, it almost makes you wonder, like, again, what's going on over there? Like, are they okay? Like,
Well,
do they need money?
It doesn't even sound like they've said, like, this is a price, take it or leave it. Now with this is where I'm saying, like, the tinfoil hat goes on for me, where they're like, yeah, we're going to stop pre-orders for the June 5th launch. They were supposed to start this week, but we're going to cancel those pre-orders in the United States as we wait and figure tariffs out. To me, that says, hey, the price might go up, fuckers.
Yeah, it was a bold move, dropping all this pricing stuff, pissing the internet off, and then going, oh, actually, hold on. Might get worse.
Yeah.
That's
God.
It's a bold move, Nintendo.
Yo, dog, we hear you Americans love getting railed by the orange Cheeto man. Boy, have we got a surprise for you.
Well, I'm still gonna pull the trigger. I did register my interest. I have no idea what that means. The stupid website was very vague. They said they might send me an email, and when they do, I'll have like 72 hours to maybe purchase it, and also maybe accessories. So weird, this whole process. So I don't know if now I don't even know, is that email still going to come eventually? I don't know, but very weird. I'm glad that we're all kind of
switch your VPN to a Japanese-based location.
Yeah.
Get it at the lower price.
Aren't there tons of companies that are specifically designed so that like someone in Japan buys you the anime waifu action figure and then that person ships it to you? Like, I bet they're gonna be like rolling in it with this.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what area, like the location lockouts are gonna look like. I mean, I honestly haven't thought about that in years, since basically the PlayStation 4. Sorry, I keep saying basically. PlayStation 4 era of just like, hey, game sharing is easy. Just give your disc to a friend. Like, we don't care about this stuff. And at that point, it felt like the system lockout feature set that was so prevalent and on the rise with the bed shitting of the Xbox One kind of just passed me by, and it was like, yeah, you just play games and it works now. I'm worried now with this that we're going to be back in that era of like, oh well, your Switch 2 has to be online to register the fact that your game cartridge is in your system and you didn't loan it out to a friend and not register their code, and they aren't in your Nintendo family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a lot of strange messaging around all that too. Very, very strange. Very strange.
Dark times in Nintendo land. But hey,
dark times.
We got a Nintendo World, right? Like a theme park, so that's pretty cool.
You're right.
You're right.
And
Griff.
we got confirmation that there's going to be a Zelda movie with real life people in 2027.
God, that's probably going to be great.
Yep, it's going to be real good.
Oh my goodness.
I'm so excited for that. I think we can keep drudging up Nintendo stuff all day. I didn't engage in any of the Treehouse stuff afterwards. Jamie, I'm guessing you didn't either.
I watched some gameplay.
You watched some gameplay?
I watched some of the. Did they do 2 days of it or 1 day?
I think it was 2 days.
I did. Whatever the day after the direct, I watched some of the gameplay. I wanted to see Metroid Prime. I wanted to see Donkey Kong. Metroid Prime looks really boring.
Agree.
Oh no.
It just looks boring and empty. And,
I'm not a primo.
And I know part of it is like the Treehouse people are kind of like, I don't know. I feel like they're making the games look worse than they are.
No,
but
Prime just does that on its own, Collin.
Well, yeah. I love Metroid, so I wanted Metroid to be good, and it looks like something I don't want to play.
Yep.
I will say that a lot of those Treehouse people look like the white people cosplaying what they think Japanese salary people would look and talk like. So like maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I mean, I'm with you, man. I haven't seen a screenshot or a video of that game and thought like, wow, that's really different. And that's
Samus
clearly
has got time magic now.
Yeah,
Guys.
I don't know. I've seen nothing interesting from it. And releasing that type of slow motion shooter now after playing games like Doom Eternal or like Helldivers or other really interesting shooters, it looks really bad in comparison.
Yeah, when your gimmick is Skyward Sword, like that seems bad, guys, to me.
Yeah. especially after something like Metroid Dread, which is fucking awesome.
Totally.
Man, I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. But as a person who doesn't care for Prime at all ever, like I've got no attachment to it, and I'm disaffected, so I don't care. But I will say the Donkey Kong game looks really fun.
I love me some
Yes.
Donkey Kong.
It feels
Yes.
it has like some Banjo-Kazooie goofy vibes. It has some like it reminds me of Astrobot, like, and it's just kind of like
Yes.
zany, over the top, goofy, beautiful, high physics platforming. Like, it looks joyful.
Watching more of the gameplay of it, it really did. I will echo what everyone else was kind of thinking, where it does look like Mario Odyssey, but with Donkey Kong.
Yep.
That sounds great.
And which is awesome. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Made me feel better about not seeing the next Mario game.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I mean that's not the case for me. Like, I was really, the lineup for me is not doing it. But that game looks cool, and I'm excited to play it in 2026 when it's still the same price, because Nintendo does not drop their prices ever either.
Yeah. They sure don't.
All right.
Something weird happened with my audio.
Okay. You're still coming through, but I think this might be the time to wrap her up.
Yeah.
So, if you can hear us, Jamie, it's been Real Dog. We're going to shut it down. We'll do another podcast. We will talk again. This has been... actually, Collin, do you want to leave now, too? So it's just me sitting in this room alone as we do the outro here? As just all the actors walk off stage.
Oh, okay, well, that sounds great. See you later, gang.
I'm gonna get up and see. Bye. No, thanks. This has been super fun. I wish Geoff could stay a little longer. But I've been Griffin Hoffmann. With me, Jamie.
I'm here on the clean feed, maybe,
Woo!
but definitely not on Audacity, because I pressed the space bar.
Oh, no.
So right up until the very end, though.
Okay, great. Collin?
Collin Connett here, sitting next to Griff.
That's right. Pilot, co-pilot. Good
right.
night.